Spring can be a really confusing time for gardening because we feel the warmth of the sun and we want to just get after it. But there's actually some things we should do and some things we should not do. Currently, my weather has been really shifty and we have not been consistently above 50 degrees day or night yet. So I have a lot of leaf litter here in my garden beds, and I even actually have my old stalks still around from last year. And the reason I'm not cleaning my beds out yet, either my garden beds or my bushes or my flower beds, is that all my beneficial insects, my pollinators and like ladybug larvae, they overwinter in the stalks and in the leaf litter. So I'm not wanting to clear out all my good helpers in the garden before it's warm enough. I want to give them time to wake up. I want to give them time to get out of the leaf litter and the stems. So that's why I'm going to kind of work around, but I'm not like clearing out my beds to do that. Also, leaf litter is a really great mulch. So I'm going to be using this as my mulch this year. We dumped our leaf rakings into this flower bed last fall. So it's a really great mulch to use. It'll degrade and come back to the soil. So do not do your spring cleaning and clear out all your flower beds and clear up all your leaves in your yard, every last little one, all the dead stalks from last year. Just be patient. It's okay to leave your dead grasses and your old stems until it's actually consistently warm out. So just enjoy the sunshine. The things you can do now, and this is really fun. I've been learning a lot about successive planting, and of course there are many things that just really like the spring weather. So I've got my peas. It might even be a touch too cold or a touch early, but I'm just going to be trusting that they'll wake up when they're ready to wake up. Kind of like my winter sowing buckets. When it's too cold, they just don't wake up. So I'm going to get them in the ground and they'll germinate and they'll wake up when they're ready to. I know I have a sunny day today and then we're going to have some rain. So God's going to water these and he's going to make them wake up. So I just moved a little bit of the soil here, loosened it up, and dropped in a little row of peas. I don't actually have a full trellis built here right now. I have a little bit of rabbit fencing. I do have a rabbit problem. So I put up a little bit of fencing here that I need to really secure, but I'm not too worried about it yet because I don't have anything green. These are onions. The rabbits don't care about those. That's why those are able to grow happy. They're actually a flower, but it's in the onion family. So the rabbits leave those alone, thankfully. So I'm just getting my peas started here. And then I'll get this fencing secured and put more trellising up here as needed once they get going. So peas are a good thing to start now, and radishes as well. So I have one of my winter sowing buckets of radishes that I've been giving a head start to. And it's kind of a moderately warm day today. I'm gonna start by taking the tape off. Now radishes like cool weather, so it's not really hot yet, but that's okay. I'm just going to remove the tape for today, and I might actually even move this one to the shade because it's going to lose all its moisture, and these plants are going to be shocked by that, and they're going to get really wilty. So I'm going to put these off to the side. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of move a little bit of my leaf litter here, and I'm going to put some seeds in as well because I want my radishes to come in. This is that idea of successive planting. These radishes, my seedlings are more mature. They'll be ready first, but I also want to start some radish seeds from seed so that a little bit later, those radishes will sprout, because you can either have, your whole patch of radishes all ripen at one time and swim in them, or you can plant a few and then think, okay, those will be ready in how many days. After, a week, I'll plant another set, and after a week, I'll plant another set, and that's what's called a successive harvest. You want a continual successive harvest, so you kind of space out your plantings. Some people even say that it's a great idea where you have little just gaps in your garden, even underneath other plants. You can put radishes in there. They're pretty happy, like with tomato plants and a lot of other plants in the garden, and then they don't take that long to grow. And then you have, just a handful of radishes here and there to add as a side for dinner. My favorite is roasting them with some butter and put a little bit of lemon on the top once they're roasted. Oh, it's so good. So I don't actually like raw radishes. I like to roast them, and they're the greatest. The other thing I'm going to add today is a little bit of worm compost. So this is organic. I like that it's organic and that it's safe for all my edible things. So I'm just going to add some of this back into the soil so that I'm adding nutrition. That's one of the things that our plants need, is they need, I don't want to just take from the soil. The soil will get depleted. I want to actually make sure I'm adding nutrition in. So worm castings, banana peel tea, that's a good one for like tomatoes and peppers. They like that a lot. But worm castings are a great one just to add as you're going along. The bag has a bunch of ideas on the back. You can make it into a liquid. You can put it in potted plants. You can give it to your shrubs. You can give it to your perennials. You can, do it all sorts of different ways. So it gives some recommendations of how to do it best on the back of the bag. You can grow your own worms and do it that way too. That's kind of fun, but I haven't ventured that far yet. So for now, bag of worm castings will be just right. So I'm going to put some radish seeds in here. I'm going to space them out because I don't like having to thin them and just kill them. That makes me sad. So I'm just going to space them out a little bit. I've got plenty of room. Nothing else is really going, so I'm not taking up space that other plants want right now. So that's what I'm working on now. There are other things that could go in the garden that are happy to go in when it's this cold, like kale. So what you can do is you can start looking up what families of plants like cool weather. So I've talked about this before. Studying plants by their families really helps you to learn them in groups. So you don't have to know, okay, now let's talk about the tomato. What is the tomato like? Okay, now what about the potato? What is the potato like? And okay, now green beans. What are green beans like? When you study them in groups, in Minnesota, in a colder climate, there's probably about 5 or 6 families of cool weather crops. That's gonna be like the onion family, carrot family, the lettuces, it's not called the garlic family, the brassica. So it's from the garlic mustard plant. They all come from that. So like your kale and your Brussels sprouts and your broccoli and your cauliflower, those all like a little bit cooler weather. Some of them just take a really long time to mature, but they like the cooler weather. Of course, lettuces, they're all really similar. So once you start setting them by groups, then you don't have to know all the facts about each and every one. You can make some generalizations then, which is really helpful in just that saving mental space. So I love God's good design in how these things grow, and they grow similarly and to each other in their families. It's really fun to study. So successive planting, getting the most out of your garden, also making sure we're fertilizing so that we're adding to the soil and we're not just taking, so that our food is nutritious, our plants are healthy and strong. So planting early, also doing some more winter sowing, getting plants started even when they're not ready to start in the ground, so we're getting a head start there. Setting plants by families. So those are kind of some of the things we talked about today. So be sure to like and subscribe and follow more, get some more tips, find out how this grows here, if I can keep those rabbits out, and what kind of trellises we use. There's all sorts of things to learn. So thanks for joining us today and growing green wonder with me.